right, if everybody else will. What we're going to do is, in order to set a good example, instead of being hovering around the podium like we often do, we'll call them up one at a time just to kind of show the importance. And we appreciate you being here very much. In order to show the importance of social distancing, we will call people up one at a time. I'm Sheriff Steve Prater. I'm the Sheriff and the Director of Homeland Security, and that kind of makes me the MC. But what everybody here is got a huge responsibility, and they will come up and talk about what they have under their purview, just like I will do very briefly right now. I think the main thing that I want to stress is that how serious we all take this. You all take it, and you're doing a great job as a media to get the message out about such things as washing hands, social distancing, and all of that we keep hearing. But we got to keep saying it, because if we can tell one person and it changes, then that might make all the difference. We got like one piece of information I saw earlier. It talked about we need to be calm, yet we can't be cavalier about this. We got to take this as a new way of life for us, in the way that we treat each other, and in the way that our hygiene as far as washing hands, etc. Everyone here has been affected by this. Everyone that's watching this, everybody here or that's watching it has been not only affected but been inconvenienced, and it's not over yet. But as leadership, what we all have to do, you'll see in a moment, you'll see the mayor and the school system, the judge, and others that come up here. Leadership is making decisions on the amount of information that you have. None of us are scientists, except Dr. White would be considered a scientist or a doctor. We just have to make leadership decisions in trying to do the best we can do with the information we have to keep people safe. And that's important. So if you don't agree with something that we're going to say, or a decision that we make about closing this or changing this pattern, we respect your right not to agree. But please understand, we're doing what we think is best for the safety of the citizens that elected us. And so I would rather, at the end of the day, I would rather people say that we overreacted rather than underreacted, and that people died because of decisions we made. This virus is not something that's going to kill us all, okay? But it might overwhelm our medical abilities, and that's the reason that we have to take this so seriously. But you all know that, but I just wanted to reemphasize that and to tell you as a start to this news conference. As far as the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office goes, I'll go over a list of a few things that we're doing to change. Now, all of the agencies here have websites. We have Facebook pages. We have information on there about the virus, information about the way that we serve. Now, things are fluid. We may say that something is closed and we're able to open it back up half a day, or vice versa. But one thing you can be sure of, one thing you can rest assured of in Caddo Parish and in Shreveport, that the police, the sheriffs, the fire department, the folks that you count on in the worst case scenario, we are there for you as strong or stronger than we've ever been, and will continue to be, no matter what the state of this virus puts us in. All right. The substations throughout Caddo Parish are closed to the public, but they are occupied. We just are going to limit traffic. If you need a crash report, you can go online to get that crash report. The same thing with paying your taxes, paying fines. Go online and do that if you can. However, the courthouse is open. There's going to be only one way into the courthouse, and that is going to be through the basement. And there will be a questionnaire that you'll have to at least look at and acknowledge and answer. And so that's going to be a little bit of a change there. But the courthouse is open, but we'd prefer you pay your taxes online. The fingerprinting and community programs, those type services that you would expect that are not essential, those type programs are suspended at present. We will get them back and running as soon as we can, but we're able to use the personnel that would be normally doing non-essential things in an essential way. We're also going to be handling a lot of criminal court matters because of the Caddo Parish Commission and the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office and the judges of the Caddo District Court. We have all agreed and been working hard to get all of the criminal courtrooms up and running, video conferencing, where a prisoner will be at CCC and the attorney will be with the judge in a courtroom, and that we can do it without a lot of transportation issues, and nobody's rights will be affected. Everything will go on just like it did. So we're working hard to get that up and running by this week. We already have some capabilities that we're using, and Judge Brady O'Callahan will come up in just a moment, and he will tell us some other changes with the Caddo District Courts. But right now, before Judge O'Callahan comes up, I'd like to invite the mayor to come up and talk about the many things that the city is changing and the many things that the city is doing to help the citizens of the city. So, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Sheriff, for your remarks and for being our master of ceremony today and his leadership as the Homeland Security lead for our area. I also want to thank the media before I begin my remarks. As usual, you all have been extremely responsive to this and allow us to push our messaging out to our community so that they can remain educated and informed during this time of emergency. As we many of us just saw, Governor John Bel Edwards concluded his own press conference, and I would like to reiterate the guidance, some of the guidance that he gave. 2 big points. The state of Louisiana is following CDC guidelines and further limiting gatherings to fewer than 50 people. Fewer than 50 people. As far as the city of Shreveport, we have made a number of changes in response to the threat posed to our community by COVID-19. We are focused on maintaining city services during this public health crisis while best protecting citizens from the spread of the coronavirus. We have created a webpage at shreveportla.gov that details the city of Shreveport's response. This situation is fluid, and the webpage will be updated as we work through this public health emergency for our community. I would like to mention a few things, a few additional changes that we have made. Government Plaza. We are limiting access to Government Plaza to employees only. We encourage citizens to contact city departments by phone. Human Resources are only accepting employment online applications. We are encouraging citizens to pay water bills online, by phone, or via email. Property taxes cannot be paid over the phone. If you must pay bills in person, there is a payment drop box located on the first floor of Government Plaza. The cashier window is closed. SPAR. SPAR recreation centers and facilities are closed effective Monday, today, March 16th, until further notice. Citizens have access to playgrounds and open spaces, but are encouraged to wash hands frequently and exercise with caution. SportTran. Effective Wednesday, March 18th, 2020, all SportTran buses will transition to alternative services. Monday through Friday service will operate an amended schedule. Weekends will remain the same. Shreveport Police Department. The Shreveport Police Complex is limiting access to the public as well. Visitors will only be able to access the building at the patrol desk or in the records division until further notice. All citizens are requested to contact police by phone or email. Officers are foregoing daily roll calls in large groups and will respond to the station only to obtain their vehicles and necessary paperwork to complete their tour of duty. City Courts, and we'll have a judge speak to elaborate on these details, but City Courts is accepting filings. No court hearings will be held until Monday, April 13th. Now I want to end this with a little bit of good news. Comcast, I want to thank them for their role and what they're doing in our community right now. Comcast is making their Internet Essential Package available for free to all who qualify. This makes it easier for low-income families to work and learn remotely. They are also making their 3,600 hotspots around Shreveport available to Shreveport citizens free of charge. Finally, they are removing data caps for all customers and are suspending disconnects for non-payment. At this time, I would like to have Councilwoman Lavette Fuller come up. Councilwoman is leading a charge with volunteers around our community that are volunteering to help deliver meals to some of our citizens, raise funds for some of our citizens. So I'll let her elaborate on her efforts. Councilwoman?
Gentlemen, Plaza is closed effective today or tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your leadership through all of this and your communications through your team. At this point, there's no decision to cancel our city council meetings for next week. As of right now, with the building closed to employees, I think we will still be planning on having our meeting. As the mayor said, we are working on looking out for our most vulnerable in the community, and a number of people have stepped up in concern about food scarcity and food insecure. As you know, our superintendent, Dr. Lamar-Goree, with the school board, has already let us know that 22 locations are open for breakfast and lunch service for grab and go for our families in need. In addition to that, a number of our faith leaders and churches are stepping up to provide their normal services as far as food pantries and soup kitchens, but some may be open to additional services or providing additional food. Through the food bank, we will be providing boxes of 20 pounds for perishable items that will be available for those who are in need over the coming month or so. The way that is going to work is that the locations that have already been designated as food pantries will be available to distribute this food. Additionally, the Council on Aging's Meals on Wheels program will be able to provide grab-and-go foods as well. What is needed, though, is additional volunteers, but we want to be sure that everyone is handling this with safety and with hygiene measures. We will be working through United Way and VOAD to secure volunteers who will be oriented so that they are handling food preparation and distribution in a hygienic way, and that they will be working with the specific food pantries that are available to make sure that we are distributing food appropriately. There will be a need also for food items to be donated to the food bank and for boxes to be done by no more than 50 people at a time as volunteers on site with the food bank. Additionally, the Community Foundation has set up an emergency fund to help distribute dollars to our groups that work with the most vulnerable in our community so that they can be granted funds in order to continue with this emergency work. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to call up Mr. De Niro Washington from Sportran to give you updates on our buses.
Good evening. Sportran remains committed to the health and safety of our public transit riders throughout our area. The agency, as the mayor has indicated, will implement a service reduction plan this coming Wednesday, March 18th, starting at 5:30 in the morning. We will cut down to an alternative service pattern. These changes are for the health and safety of our passengers and only for essential travel only. We're asking people to only ride public transit for essential travel only. That includes work, healthcare, and nutrition values only. That's work, healthcare, and for food only. All fixed routes buses will operate on this alternative schedule, and Sunday schedule will remain the same at this point. The terminal, as well as our website, now have information posted on these changes. These changes can be found at sporttrend.org. That is sporttrend.org. There is an alert button that is at the top of our website now that will provide more information. Our paratransit service, which is Lifeline, will now provide service essential to moving forward with public transportation on our Lifeline brand. We will continue to move forward, but we want to look for life-sustainable opportunities only. Life-sustainable opportunities and people who are looking for nutrition and value on Lifeline as well. Otherwise, we're asking that you remain home off public transportation at this point. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Erica Bryant, the Assistant Parish Administrator for Caddo Parish. I'm speaking on behalf of the Caddo Parish Commission and our Administrator, Dr. Woodrow Wilson. Just want to say that the Commission is taking every effort to ensure the welfare of Caddo Parish citizens, and every step that we are taking is with their care in mind. So in that vein, we are doing the following. Parish services in Government Plaza on the 8th floor, such as adjudicated properties, permits, and licenses will be processed by phone, online, or mail. The parish will only be collecting payments for these services by phone, online, or mail. All payments to parish vendors will be issued by mail and ACH deposit when possible. Applications for employment will only be accepted online. The Caddo Parish Courthouse is open with limited access. Citizens are asked to check with specific agencies to determine operations. The Caddo Parish Juvenile Services is suspending visits to Juvenile Detention Center. Only virtual visits will occur. Court hearings will be held on a case-by-case basis as determined by the Caddo Parish Juvenile Court. Continued custody hearings, trials, and any other court hearings will be scheduled only as needed. For Parks and Recreation, with the exception of Walter B. Jacobs, all parish parks remain open. However, all parish-sponsored events and partner events have been canceled, and administrative offices are closed to the public. For parish compactor sites, they remain open, but it's on a self-serve basis, meaning that citizens have to self-dispose of their trash at these sites. Libraries will be closed from tomorrow, March 17th through April 13th. For animal services, we will have reduced hours for animal services from 1 to 5 p.m. The shelter is closed to tours, but we will have virtual tours at 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. via the parish's website and social media. Animal control officers will patrol and operate on a normal schedule. All off-site parish-sponsored animal events are postponed. Citizens are encouraged to view adoptable and lost animals on our website, www.caddo.org. Any questions related to our services can be directed to 226-6900. Please know that public health continues to be our driving force in the decisions that we make in regards to the services we're providing. We know that this is a major issue that is unprecedented, and we're taking unprecedented steps. But again, it's always with our citizens in mind. At this time, we're going to have our Commission President, Mario Chavez, have a few words.
Thank you, Ms. Erica Bryant, for that information. Neighbors, citizens, community, Shreveport Caddo Parish, first off, I want to thank you for banding together and just being polite and loving each other and doing what it's going to take to bring this community together to show each other how to love and how to work together. I know there's a lot of citizens out in the rural areas that Caddo Parish services that we may not know they're there, or we may not be able to reach them. So I asked you to please reach out to us. We have the facilities and we have the means to reach them. So please let us know of any neighbors that you know that may be in need. I want everybody to know that you can go get active information and breaking news from www.coronavirus.gov as it's readily available. Again, Ms. Erica Bryant, thank you for the information. We had a lot to dispense for Caddo Parish. Most importantly, our children in Caddo Parish. I'd like to bring up Superintendent Lamar Gorey.
Thank you very much, and certainly I'll reiterate my thank you to our media partners for helping us to ensure that we get good information out to our families. As you all know, the way we educate children in our state dramatically changed by proclamation of our governor, on last Friday. Because of that proclamation, several things have happened since then. One of the first needs that we were so happy that we were so readily able to meet is the opportunity to feed our children. When you're operating in a school system where more than 70% of our children are being raised in homes of poverty, we have to respect that many of our families rely on us for feeding of their children. We're so excited that we were able to launch 22 feeding sites today. In fact, we fed 1,150 children today. So we do see that as a huge success as we begin this feeding program. Some of the things that we've had to do to be reactive to the needs of our families is we've changed the time of feeding to 7 to 11. We've also been able to obtain a waiver from the state so that we can, when a parent goes and takes children, they can receive their breakfast and their lunch at the same time. As we looked at numbers, we've had to make a few changes. Two of our northern sites, and this was again in response to numbers and parent requests. The Herndon site will be moved to Morningsport Elementary, and the Jack P. Timmons site will be moved to Blanchard Elementary. And both of these additions do create a more neighborhood setting where children and families can walk to receive the meals. We're also excited that because of the demand today, we're adding a 23rd site, and that's at Southern Hills Elementary School. We're really excited about what this will offer for our community, and certainly encourage you to continue to encourage families to go to our website. We do have our website will be very up to date at all times based on how we're managing this corona situation. And again, we do encourage you to go to the website so that you can learn where those sites are and make sure that our families are taking advantage of those. The one thing that I spoke to when we talked about how we'll deliver instruction to children when you're out of school for a month, we all know that we can't just sit home for a month and not do our academic work. You know, I'm so proud that earlier in the year my team began to build this distance learning opportunities for all children. Now, in the last few weeks, as we've monitored this information around the corona outbreak and what could possibly happen, we have really turned on our work to get that system ready to roll out. Now, one thing that I will say is an advantage, too, is that we're leading into spring break next week, but we're so happy that on March 30th, when we return, all of our children, all of their teachers will be set up in Google Classroom. In fact, many of them are already set up there now, and a lot of the students have already begun to complete work. So we don't see this as a time off but a time on, and we're really excited that our students will continue to receive their instruction over the next month. Teachers are working this week, again, to prepare, to set up their classrooms, to invite their students, and to really learn those things that will be necessary for them to learn. You know, we know that whenever you start an endeavor of this magnitude, there will be some bumps along the way, and we're just asking that everyone it works together. We ask that everyone, takes the bumps with a grain of salt and understand that our goal is to provide every child with a safe environment, but with every opportunity academically possible. Today, many of you, if you have children in our school system, you received a survey, and the survey was an assessment of the current technology needs of our children. Now, we also understand that many of our children may not have the technology to take advantage of a digital learning platform. And in that respect, we are going to have an opportunity the week of March 30th through April 1st where families can check out the technology that they will need to support their children at home. So know that our schools are working diligently so that when we return from spring break, we're ready to check those Chromebooks out to our students so that they can be successful. Two had an opportunity to attend a a press conference. No pep rallies today. A press conference with Comcast and to talk about what a huge impact the expansion of those hotspots and that Xfinity Wireless will be for our community. So we do look for all children to have access to the technology to access an online platform. We'll also have all of our hotspots turned on in all of our schools. So a family could go to the parking lot of, say, Captain Shreve High School, jump on our Wi-Fi, download all the work, go home and complete that work for the week. So we're going to work diligently to do everything we can to make this transition as smooth as possible. Our central office and all of our campuses are closed. We are manning the phones at central office, so if there is a need, please feel free to call, or you are welcome to email, and we will be responding to those as soon as we can. Again, in order to maintain the safety of our environment, we are encouraging small groups, so we're running skeletal crews and encouraging our employees to work from home. One other thing that I'll add, too, though, on the online platform is that our teachers will be required to carry office hours, and those are digital office hours every day. So there will be an opportunity for teachers to be available to help the children to complete their work. Again, we are so happy to be a part of this effort with our parish, and we're excited that we're going to work together and continue to provide the very best opportunities as we try and navigate through this very unseen situation. We trust your children's teachers are going above and beyond, though, today, just to make sure they have every opportunity possible. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to introduce First Judicial District Judge Brady O'Callahan, and as soon as he's through with his brief remarks, it won't take him long. I know how he talks. Then we're going to have the star of the show, the busiest person in the whole room here, although we're all busy. Dr. Martha White will follow the judge, and I'm sure that there'll be plenty of questions that you can ask her if you need to. So, Judge?
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. I'm Judge Brady O'Callahan, one of the judges of the First Judicial District Court. This afternoon, in response to the ongoing health crisis, the First Judicial District Court, en banc, that is, all of us, issued an order regarding court proceedings at the courthouse on Texas Street. This is the district courthouse, or the Caddo Parish Courthouse, as it's often called. This is not an order that affects city court. You'll have to address that with the city court judges and our city court officials. The district court has decided to suspend and continue all non-essential or time-sensitive proceedings. The courthouse will remain open. It does house other agencies. However, access will be restricted, and any individuals that fall in prohibited classes, such as having traveled to certain countries or parts of this country, or having had contact with individuals who've tested positive, will be asked not to enter the courthouse. As far as the different types of matters and how they'll be affected, the court will still be conducting some business of a nature that is essential to afford litigants and criminal defendants their essential constitutional rights. Specifically, just so that everyone is clear, in criminal matters, the court will still be conducting all first appearances, that is, in our jurisdiction commonly called jail clearance or 72-hour hearings. That is generally done by video court. We will be conducting all bond hearings, including bond revocation hearing and bond setting hearings for all individuals arrested. We will be conducting criminal protective order hearings that accompany those bond matters. We will be conducting arraignment hearings on all individuals who are incarcerated. So if someone has not been able to post their bond, they will be given their arraignment consistent with law. And we will be conducting hearings on all individuals whose probation is facing revocation if that individual is incarcerated. So in criminal matters, generally, if matters involve an individual who is in custody, that matter will still be conducted whenever possible, and we thank the Sheriff's Office and the Commission for working with us. Whenever the law permits, we will do that by video court to minimize exposure, and we will do those as expeditiously as possible. As far as civil and domestic matters are concerned, all of those matters are continued except for the following expedited or emergency matters. Civil protective orders and domestic protective orders will proceed based on their nature. If people have received a court date for a hearing on their protective order, that court date will proceed. Emergency child custody orders under Civil Code Article 3945. Those are emergency ex parte orders involving the safety of a child. The courts will continue to conduct those hearings as well. Any emergency interdictions, any civil commitment proceedings where someone is involuntarily held in custody, any matters in which the public health is related to the current health crisis will still be set and heard, or any other matter in which the petitioner is able to satisfy the responding judge or the reviewing judge that a hearing is necessary on an expedited basis. So other than those matters, all other trials and hearings have been continued by order of the court on a finding that just cause exists to continue those matters. This is, of course, in response to our concern for public safety. If people have an individual matter and they have an attorney, they should contact their attorney. If they're not sure what that means for their matter and they do not have counsel, they should contact either the clerk of court or the individual judge's office. All matters will be rescheduled as soon as we know that we're giving out dates where we are sure to be able to have court. This order is effective through April the 10th, which is a Friday. It's effective immediately through April the 10th. So all matters between now and April the 10th are continued by order of the court, except for the categories that I have just described. again, people may contact the court and contact their attorneys. And we hope that everyone will work together to be courteous and patient, and we're trying to balance the interests that we all, as judges, take very seriously of litigants' rights and access to the courts. The judges will be there, the clerk will be accepting filings, and we will be reviewing petitions and pleadings and all legal filings to make sure that they are given the attention they deserve and are set as quickly as we are possibly able to set them.
Thank you, Judge. And now, like I say, the star of the show, Dr. White. Dr. Martha White, and she's the Regional Director of Health and Hospitals for our region. And she's the most knowledgeable about this, and we get such huge guidance from her. And I wanted her to go last because I figured that's where the questions are going to come. And after she's through and questions and all that you have of her, then the rest of us will be, I see the mayor's there. Anybody that's got any questions, Dr. Gorey, of any of us, will be around for those questions. But Dr. White's the most important right now.
Hello, how are y'all? So, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is, we're seeing our numbers in New Orleans especially really climb. Last week they had none, now they have 100. So we really want to take this time to still encourage people to stay calm and to remember that this virus, while it's a new virus, and we are very concerned about it, we want to make sure people take it seriously and that they do the things that are being asked of them, which primarily is really try to stay home, try to social distance, try to take care of those more fragile in our community that have high health risks or are elderly, and we want to do everything we're doing is to try to keep that community safe. If you look at numbers in New Orleans, you're seeing clusters in long-term care centers, and so we want to make sure that we are protecting that community in our community. But it's not a time to panic. It's not a time to run and clear shelves. I tell everybody when they're shopping, they're going to restock tomorrow. There's going to be more there. The stores aren't closing, so let's not panic. But we do want to make sure that we're being smart. And we do have 4 cases in our area, 3 in Caddo and 1 in Bossier. You're going to hear all kinds of rumors. There's a case here and there's a case there. What I'll tell you is those are cases that are being tested. So a lot of those cases, thank goodness, have come back negative, but there will be positives, and our numbers will climb, and our goal is to try to keep the numbers as low as we can keep them. So by washing your hands, keeping your hands away from your face, making sure that you stay home if you're sick, making sure that you social distance and keep that 6 feet